probably globally as well. But she is currently sitting at a 1-2 record in all of playoffs, so negative win rate, and this has been the most popular matchup, playing into Azir, and still, I still favor the Orianna.
Especially when you do go that super high burst build, Ludens into Shadow Flame, you just have so much raw M-Pen, and you can explode any squishy on that 2-item spike, especially when you get the tier 3 boots. Xin Zhao is taken off the board as well, pretty solid combo. Like you said, one of the things that you can try and play for on the side lane is just trying to punish Orianna without flash, but quick snap up of the Vi and the Mbessa with the Renekton ban, that makes a lot more sense, since that is one of the more bullying kind of troubling matchups for Mbessa to deal with in the early laning phase.
I think we've also just started to pick away at some of our some of the champion pools of the players here. Mbessa most played here for 369, similarly for Zika. So good dive already. I think Weibo have a lot of agency to make plays happen, but it's a bit fragile. Obviously, Mbessa her ultimate is very slow. Going into the Mordekaiser, I've loved this adaptation from Top Esports. They have been more willing, and I think way more comfortable in Fearless, to pull out these unique champions, especially 369, who is known for his Mordekaiser in previous years.
Yeah, some of the previous playoff drafts, we've seen 369 bust out some other special pocket picks. Some to good success, others not so much, but I still like the theory that Top Esports are trying to experiment with their creativity more, because that is going to give them a bit of an edge later in this best of 5. Now, second round of bans, Kai'Sa and Poppy already taken off the table. Probably looking at another marksman ban if I have to be a gambling man on the side of Top Esports.
Well, you can get rid of Misfortune, because I do think there is plenty of lockup here, and you do kind of want a lane that's going to be a bit more bully-centric. We're going to take the Ashe, so cutting away at that Seraphine I think makes sense. I think right now Top Esports are really prioritizing a champion like Nautilus or Leona, just having point-and-click stuns. And also, when I look at Top Esports right now, it is a bit tough for them to walk into an objective if they are second. If you are walking into Orianna, if Weibo already have set up, and if they grab this Misfortune like I'm thinking they are, then it becomes very difficult. Who is going to be frontlining? And maybe with a Xin Zhao, we're going to be trying to pair this with a Lulu. Are we going to look for a hyper carry immediately?
I like the Sivir ban too, because even if you can cancel that spell shield, Sivir can always easily empower the rest of her team to just go surge on forward through a choke point fast. Ezreal, probably the next best bet, just to give yourself some self-peel and agency with the Arcane Shift. You can't necessarily escape the vibe, but you can create some distance.
I just don't like it though, right? Like, we're going to play this really long game where NaiYou has to frontline. I'm imagining this is going to be a Karma on 5 for Top Esports, so you're kind of making NaiYou the frontline tank, and that can work. I just think it's really risky going into what Weibo have. You're maybe going to outrange or use your Crescent Guard to stop some of the damage, but Vi and Mbessa, they can completely ignore the Xin Zhao. And so what else are we really looking for? Can maybe Mordekaiser use his ultimate to take a member out? I think it's a little too cute of an execution to go for. So really what now I'm going to be looking for is whether or not the lane is going to be good enough for Top Esports, or if we could see more of that creative jungle pathing we were kind of alluding to.
Yeah, I feel like Top Esports have a decision to make. Either do they want to say, we want to make sure that JiaQi has a good laning phase, and so we give them something like an Ezreal Karma lane to just have that raw laning power and push? Or do you go for something that's going to play more for team fights and just say, listen, we already gave JiaQi an Ezreal, he's just going to play for himself, and we're going to use Fengyue to try and assist the rest of the 3-man or the 4-man core at the front, and the Alistar is the final lock-in.
I've got to say, Rafa, this draft inspires no hope in me. This draft makes me full-on despair when I look at this from Top Esports. This is a super tricky draft, in my opinion. You have this Azir and Ezreal who are going to continue to chip away at their opponents, but Weibo just have so much explosive playmaking. I think the ease of execution for this Weibo comp is significantly better than Top Esports. I mean, the top matchup, sure, some of these lanes can be a bit trickier to play, but even Misfortune, after she finishes her first item, really doesn't care about Ezreal's poke. So, again, I love what Weibo have forward. I think this is very clearly very easy for them to play. You have good, strong lanes, both in mid and in bottom lane, and that's exactly what we wanted to see from them, right? Let Elk kind of be a big carry for this team. Let him run over his opponents so that Top Esports never really get time to play.
Yeah, the fact that Weibo Gaming, all 5 of their champions have one common theme, and that is they can all press R at the same time. Ease of execution, I'm definitely with you. I think it favors Weibo Gaming a ton here. Top Esports not necessarily out of any options, but the way to respond and counterpunch is just so much more difficult than Weibo has. But we have seen crazier things happen here in LPL, so it's going to come down to the execution at the end of the day. And we want to continue to emphasize that NaiYou in previous games that has won Top Esports out of what seemed like very hard to play games has just been breaking open the game. But we're going to see how these two teams fare in our first game of this best of 5.
The Jiejos have been a little bit soft, but again, it's best of 5. Fans usually get there by game 2. Exactly.
Yep.
So, taking a look at the runes, doesn't seem like there's very much different. We have been seeing lethal tempo Ezreal really start to climb in terms of the pick rate, so not all that shocking to see. And junglers are starting on the same sides, but currently Weibo are operating with a lot more information with that early war down on NaiYou's blue.
Remember, the early information on being able to track what NaiYou is going to do in this first opener can give Weibo Gaming the edge and try and avoid any of the rule breaking or the game breaking that NaiYou has been able to do in previous successful games. As we called out before, because Fengyue did not opt in for a range support, we imagine that this misfortune should have the edge when it comes to overall pushing power. Both junglers are pathing towards the top side of the map, which I must say is a little strange. I thought that with both something like an Alistar and an Nautilus, you might have a little bit more playmaking ability to try and break that lane open, especially since both Alk and JiaQi have been tied so much to their overall team's win conditions. But maybe there's something about this Mordekaiser and Bessa lane that could really lean to giving either team the edge here.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, 2 top laners that can have a lot of say in this game. I do favor Mbessa as we go longer, but Mordekaiser is such a strong duelist, and something that we'll have to keep track in this game is the side laning, right? Azir, Mordekaiser, these are 2 very potent duelists in their 1v1s, and neither Orianna or Mbessa can really deal with them very well if they land all their spells. So you already see that Top Esports, you have a level lead here for 369. He's getting a lot of good damage, and this wave is bouncing underneath the turret. NaiYou's going to lose access to this top side scuttle. So do we see a potential dive being set up or anything of the like? Jiejie might just get 2 crabs here, actually.
Yeah, Jiejie already shows himself on the mid wave, so NaiYou knows that he is losing the race. And because Fengyue and JiaQi are starting to get pushed in, they have to decide whether they want to maintain this freeze or try and help NaiYou out for this bottom crab. Erha gets punted in by Fengyue. Alk getting taken down pretty fast, backs off for now, and Erha is forced to flash away, and that priority guarantees the NaiYou at least guarantees one of the crabs.
That is why I love lethal tempo Ezreal. He literally just, you land a couple Qs, you get those autos in between, that with the passive, you turn into a very, very potent duelist here. So Erha losing half his HP, same thing here with Alk. They might just continue to go for this.
Erha with the Hex Flash, but it's Jiejie around the corner!
JiaQi!
Surprise! Here comes the miss! Jiejie tries to flash on top of JiaQi, and he gets first blood before falling to Alk.
Oh, this is a massive wave, though, going over to the Misfortune, so it might even equalize that first kill. JiaQi played that very well. Flashes out of the play, but a very expensive trade here, as Weibo will protect Alk for the time being.
As one of the things we mentioned, this game is going to come down to how often can either of the junglers kind of break protocol and assumptions about whether you're going to just full clear and try to get to level 6 as fast as possible, or if you're going to try to make some presence on the map. I love that Jiejie, instead of going immediately for his respawn camps, he stays on the bottom side map and makes that play happen against JiaQi.
Instead of recalling, does he just choose to continue his camps? No, he's going to reset. All of his top side is going to be respawning soon. Here comes the big gamble, everybody. Where is the scuttle going to spawn? Coming across 5 minutes here soon, and that means that if it is spawning in the bottom side, we are going to see the very well known at this point shenanigans for a 530 crab.
We'll see if that flip happens. It's definitely been running amok and causing some games to either be hard won or lost. TP from 369 onto the top side has the steel capped boots for... It's going to be really nice into both Jiejie and Zika, both of them being physical damage heavy as Jiejie clears off these top 2 camps. And with that bottom crab, as you pointed out, both junglers making a beeline towards it now.
So I'm looking at mid wave, and currently Creme does have priority to move over for this scuttle that we've been setting up here. Xiaohu's going to fight back now over this wave. I think it is much easier for Weibo to make the decision that they want to walk into this side of the jungle, but I don't know. I think it's a little bit risky. If he even leashes some experience from this bottom lane, NaiYou could actually hit 6 just off this wave. Jiejie's not going to even play for it. Let's just try to kill the Ezreal with no flash, no barrier. Why not?
Fengyue looking for Alk. He still has a flash. He is waiting for it until the very last moment. NaiYou flashes in, but good Dredgeline pulls it back. Ensures that Alk can survive. He's still level 5, but he has the range advantage now. Patient play from Weibo Gaming gives them the edge, and they get another 2 kills for their trouble.
I cannot believe that top esports actually... Oh, JiaQi, we're doing this?
One more auto attack, he just needs it, but Erha is body blocking the mystic shots. JiaQi cannot find the revenge kill. Jiejie still not level 6, but an empowered auto attack route into the fist. Weibo Gaming are off to the races.
That is an amazing start here for Weibo Gaming. I mean, you're up 2,000 gold. You've set this bottom lane up for massive success. 369's going to try to hit this 1v1. There's the Mbessa ult to spend just as much time as possible. Gets him to survive. I really want to take a look at that replay because I thought Jiejie actually missed his Q. We can take a look at this again. So they both enter at the same time. Obviously, Jiejie's already here for this play. Great setup onto Elk. The wind becomes lightning. Doesn't land. And he flashes, but as you mentioned during the call, Dredgeline stops him from walking forward. Great play from both Jiejie and Erha to set this up. And now you've given over this misfortunate double kill, who now, we're getting closer to that BF sword, we're getting closer to that BT, and that just means Ezreal's timer in this early game is getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah, didn't even see that the W did not connect, which means that the E did not get the extended range. That really did make the difference there. And now it's a 2,000 gold advantage for Weibo Gaming, just ahead of the grub spawning. Fengyue is going to look again. But even though that Elk does not have flash, it is so hard to brute force his way through this Nautilus. And Jiejie, very close to his Sundered Sky purchase already. Do they want to contest them on these grubs here, or do they just want to take the free dragon now that NaiYou's pathing towards the top side of the map?
Look at my mid jungle right now, right? Like, we're gonna have Vi level 6 with that cease and desist. You have the shockwave. That might just be someone's life you're taking. So I am way more excited to play this 2v2, and this is some of the questions that we had for top esports was, how are we gonna even lock down some of these carries later on? You're gonna be walking into this grub fight, you have all your flashes in. NaiYou's doing a really funky job of just dashes over the wall. There's no vision here. You get 3 grubs, which is good for the side laning of top esports, but whether or not we'll actually get to that point is another question all entirety.
Yeah, the first 1v1 between 369 and Zika did not result in a kill for either member there. It's already starting to show the power and the presence that Mordekaiser can have, but Mordekaiser always needs to be ahead of the gold curve, because if he's ever behind, it doesn't matter, you're taking Mbessa to the death realm with you, you're still losing that 1v1. You need to have that advantage in order to actually force that 1v2 pressure so that top esports are always fighting at a numbers advantage on the other side.
So if we're not going to be able to stack dragons, at least early enough, we're about 9 minutes in, 10 minutes in about 50, so if we're not going to be getting any early dragons, and we haven't really been able to blow up bottom lane, Weibo are going to be very, very excited with the prospect of what this is looking like. I mean, it's hard for them to maybe get locked down on some of their members, but I don't think it matters, because now Erha has the dredge line. You are, with this in the ultimate, you're basically set up for success for the entire rest of the game here. getting the dragon started here. NaiYou's on the opposite side of the map. I don't think we're going to be seeing a dive, so Weibo are feeling more and more comfortable. But something we've noted, Mark, is that these late games from Weibo Gaming have not been clean.
Nope. The best hope for Weibo Gaming is to try have such a huge gold lead that the late game decision making doesn't become a challenge that they have to overcome. It's just more of a, can we just use our big wallet diff and just win this fight? Can we just brute force this, guys, and just call it a day? And so far, 2,000 gold at 10 minutes is a solid start. But they can't rest on their laurels forever. They're going to have to find a way to balloon this lead and leverage it into something more meaningful, which now with the first dragon in their pockets, we don't have objectives spawning for the next 4.5 minutes. So, Alk, we're kind of chilling until first item spikes come online for everyone.
I'm not going to lie. I completely blacked out midway with your sentence because you said balloon, and I just saw a bunch of monkey darts flood my screen and my brain.
Fair enough.
I'm a druid monkey player.
Hang on.
So, oh,
JiaQi gets tagged by the cease and desist dredge line. Good flash away from the hook, but Xiaohu is going to force Fengyue's flash over the wall. No kills, but that means 2 summoner spells have been burned, and a repeat visit in the near future can be on the cards for Weibo.
I mean, just because of the potential threat of Vi going for a dive on this wave, they're going to lose this entirety for top esports. So good job from Weibo. I love the fact that we also got Xiaohu to find a roam timer while still keeping his TP into this Azir matchup. So this is just going to be plates going over to Alk at this point. This is now, again, still leaving room for Xiaohu to get to these items, get to that Luden's companion, and one-shot anybody. I mean, you just gave over 2 plates over to this Misfortune, and we're going to have the quest being completed soon. So
yeah,
I need to see something from top esports. There's the quest. We already had BT. We're not even done with Trinity Force yet here for Jiejie.
He is behind the curve. And the unfortunate thing for them is that NaiYou was trying to look for maybe a dive onto Zika with 369, but the fact that Zika was able to dance around the harass and be able to exert so much pressure in the health bar, 369 was forced to base, and that basically told NaiYou, well, we're not going to get anything off of this wave. We can try again on the next spawn when we redeploy, which is exactly what they're trying to do, but the vision set up is going to scout him out. Oh, no. Does he face check? Okay. Looks like NaiYou's safe.
Look, NaiYou knows that he has the lead here. He is 4 camps up on his jungle tree. He's the first person on top esports to finish his quest. He has the upgraded smite. He knows he's going to win this every single time. So just a matter of formalities here. Top esports, this is a bit tricky. I get what they're looking for. We have 2 minutes before Herald and Dragon. Let's see if we can fish for a summoner spell. But we also, usually when we talk about Orianna Azir, it's this constant talking point of Azir ultimate forces out Orianna Flash.
Wow.
And they've done nothing of the sort. Now it's them finding Creme.
Holy full send it, double point and click ultimates into the shockwave with that Luden's Echo first item spike. Good night to Creme's Azir, and Fengyue can't do anything about it other than pop the ulti.
Yeah, Luden's Echo just one-shots him there. I mean, this item has so much AP. Yeah, really good stuff, but I look at this from top esports. These were all concerns we had from the draft going in. Now you have no flash on Azir, and you still have that summoner available for his counterpart in the mid lane. I think top esports, or Weibo, are in such a good spot here in this game. Your Misfortune is fed, your Vi is doing well, and Azir has done essentially nothing in this early game to say otherwise, to maybe give me some inkling of a win condition for this team.
And the funny thing is that you can look at what Weibo invested for that kill. It was pretty expensive. You had 2 flashes from jungle and support, as well as ultimates from all 3 of them. Might have to hold on to that point, because 369 is losing this 1v1 against Zika inside his own stadium, inside that death realm, is forced to back off here.
You can keep going. You know, you run a little bit of a roll there, so I want to give you time.
Yeah, but I do want to pass up the ball to you. It feels like Weibo Gaming made that super expensive play, and it's not going to be punished. It's something that top esports can't really play around. I mean, Creme dodges out the dredge line, but Jiejie is looking for the vault breaker. Doesn't tag him, but Alk is just running him down thanks to the movement speed on this kit. and Weibo Gaming are just punishing, looking for play after play. NaiYou and Fengyue might be able to get something onto Xiaohu, but he has a flash available. He should be relatively safe. Unless he face it.
Xiaohu.
Oh boy, Fengyue does have ultimate, so they should be able to pull this dive. Shockwave onto 2, stalls it for a little bit, but Fengyue was taking turret the whole time, and that's easy peasy for top esports.
So, if you want to cope for Xiaohu here, you can say that he was buying time and attention so that Alk can hit the mid plates.
True.
But if we're being realistic, he should just not walk into where he has vision. He knows that NaiYou is there, maybe feeling that Alistar may not be in that area, so, you know, pick your poison. You can pick which side of the argument you want to be on for this one. But a pretty big mistake. Thankfully for Weibo, he still has teleport on this Orianna, and now top esports are in no condition to really go for this dragon. This will be the second dragon of the game going over to Weibo. Still good dragon stacking across the board, and continuing that, you know, another secondary win condition for them outside of the draft advantages we've illuminated.
And Alk can just pick up this mid wave. Creme is trying to at least get a plate for his troubles. Will not be able to knock out the turret completely. Rift Herald is up for the taking. A majority of top esports members are there grouped on it, but Xiaohu's gonna get first brick before they can even use that Rift Herald to knock down a turret themselves. So once again, Weibo Gaming ahead on the map, ahead on the play, and we are 2 minutes away before both of the summoner spells from Jiejie and Erha are back online. So we come back to the question that top esports, could they have punished any of those flashes being burned? And the answer might have just been no.
So here is where it is going to kind of be in a very important state of the game for me when I watch top esports, because you now have a multitude of the grubs and you also have the Herald. So how are we going to accelerate the gold? Blast Cone here from Creme.
Doesn't send it quite yet. Fengyue flash onto Alk. He wants to wait for his flash, but the barrier has already been expended.
All right.
And Alk gets shut down. Decent shockwave onto 2, but NaiYou blocks any incoming damage with that crescent guard. Erha tries to flash away, but he gets interrupted on the knockup. Well done by Fengyue, being able to clip him out of the dredge line. Xiaohu and Jiejie are the last 2 members standing. There's no objectives for them to take, but that feels like such a relief for top esports.
Yeah, that was a very, very creative angle there from Creme. Takes the blast cone into 4 members, and while he does go down, I think the turret going down doesn't really matter in my mind. I think it's just getting all of these summoner spells away, and you're also getting some pretty decent kill gold onto the important members. JiaQi is just beelining it into there. You're getting that kill gold onto the Azir, and what I was going to talk about before this fight was that by having the grubs, by having the Herald, you might actually be able to slingshot your way back into this game with all of these turret plates left in the game. You might be able to go to a side lane, get Creme a ton of gold, get JiaQi a bunch of gold, and then suddenly you're going into what could potentially be a 3rd or 4th dragon fight with on par gold to your lane opponent. So I don't necessarily hate the early game now that we've gotten top esports to get 3 grubs on top of this. I just need them to now deliver on this, because this has been a little bit problematic. We're seeing a teleport come through.
Creme has a long trek to go. There's no turret, but flashes away from the public execution. Fengyue punts away 1 member. Alk walks up, ready to down smash with the bullet time. Creme is caught inside that cone. Fengyue trying to body block as much as he can. And so far, it's turning out pretty damn well. Successful for top esports. And the rest of the members are ready to group on up. Jiejie takes a blast cone, tries to jump on NaiYou. The Rift Herald's walking away. NaiYou's trying to fly
NaiYou
to save himself. He dashes in with the audacious charge. The Crescent Guard cannot block too much more because Xiaohu was inside the circle. You could see the thought process, but he was just too far away.
It's like, please, come back to me. Come back to me. Oh, there's actually a kill in mid lane. Oh, okay. Thank you to our observers. Picture in picture, we get to see JiaQi take the 1v1 versus Xiaohu on this Orianna. Damn, that's the heartbreaker. I can't believe I did all this setup just for top esports to have not only the Herald go down, but then NaiYou still dies on top of that. And so you're going to be walking into what is the 3rd dragon of the game. No flash on either Creme or this Xin Zhao. So good setup here for Weibo, even if it does come at maybe the expense of your opponents. It was their decisions.
You know, Alk, that felt like the moment where your Uber shows up and then they ping you saying like, hey, you have the 5-minute warning, show up now or I leave you. And It was him running out the door of his apartment like, wait, I'm here, I promise. But the Uber was already
driving away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already turned the corner. You've already gotten the notification, like, we're going to find you another driver, but you've already been, I think dinged is the word I'm going to use.
Yeah, you've been docked a star on your overall rider
Yeah.
rating. Tough.
I don't know how I have a 4.3 on here. I literally don't
Do you
talk
really?
at all. I don't talk during my, I'm very courteous. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm
Skill
too
issue.
quiet. All right.
Skill issue.
Show me yours after this. Let's not.
We'll compare and contrast. We'll figure it out. I think I might have a 4.8, which is why I feel a little bit more confident. But if I'm wrong, then might be a jungle diff. Anyway, we're 20 minutes into the game. Baron has spawned. Erha is in a world of trouble. He's inside the dragon pit, and Jiejie is deciding whether he wants to bail out his support here. And he says, "Yeah, I can't save you." I don't know how that happened, but Nautilus is gone for this dragon.
Yeah. So Weibo just say, you know what? Let's not fight this right now. We have a 2-item Orianna. She's gonna take an entire turret on top side. This will stop the dragon stacking win condition we're softly starting to get around here for Weibo. At least Top Esports will gain 1 turret, but I think the trade that they are making on the opposite side for Weibo is decent enough. A full turret for Orianna with 2 plates, and you get at least 1 jungle camp taken away here from Jiejie. I think it's a fine trade overall. But we are starting to get to that point, Raafaa, where Ezreal has 2 items. Azir, after he picks up this wave, and maybe the next one will also get to his 2nd items. This is a big spike coming on through, even including things like the Mordekaiser. So Top Esports are doing well to keep themselves within touching distance of this game, and I have yet to be convinced that Weibo can play a clean enough game in this circumstance.
They definitely haven't given us a good enough sample size to prove us otherwise as we head into our 22nd minute of this first game, the best of 5. Reminder, loser of this best of 5, their split ends, and they have to wait until split 2, and they don't even have a chance to go further in the lower bracket, let alone try and get a chance to compete in the finals or go to first stand represent LPL at Sao Paulo in Brazil. So far, Top Esports have the better setup. At least there is a Scuttle Crab from Weibo Gaming that gives them some semblance of vision. NaiYou might be caught here. Pops the Crescent Guard. Jiejie pops the engage. Looks for the cease and desist right on top. Shockwave! Nicely done by Xiaohu. Waits until the Crescent Guard pops before expending the burst. Jungle and support duo down, and that Baron looks free.
I just want to look at the minimap right now. Like, Azir's just now hitting the top wave, and Mordekaiser is bottom lane. My Ezreal is hitting the mid wave. We're never fighting for this objective. Teleport comes in from Mordekaiser. This seems like it's going to be an in and out play for Top Esports.
Maybe 369 can take 1 to Brazil with him, but doesn't get in range. Finally finds a death realm, but JiaQi is getting blown up on the other side of the fight. Creme is now completely zoned off just by Erha alone, and 369 doesn't find a single member. I think this one is looking pretty chalked up. Creme might be able to escape here, but Weibo Gaming have a 5,000 gold advantage, 2 dragons to the name, and the Baron buff for the play.
Yeah, that right there is going to maybe cement my belief here that Weibo can maybe close this one out in pretty decent fashion. Just, again, look at where the carries are. JiaQi is still clearing this minion wave, and Fengyue, well, yeah, you're stopping Misfortune from walking in. At this point, the damage is done. Massive shockwave from Xiaohu to kind of finish that kill on NaiYou, and then there's just no setup, right? That was a big concern that we had from the draft, that with Mordekaiser, Azir, and Ezreal, who is going to be frontlining for this team? And once you lose your jungle support, that completely knocks the legs out from underneath Top Esports. They lose out big time during that play. Let's see if we can get Weibo to take some turrets right now. It is seeming a bit struggle bus for them to try to take some of these last tier 2s that Top Esports do have, but you're strong enough. You've got Baron minions now.
Weibo Gaming walk up as 4 while Jiejie clears the bottom side quadrant jungle. 2 plates already gone, a 3rd one should follow suit soon, and Top Esports, all they can do is watch from afar as this tier 2 turret will be felled without any contest. We have another dragon spawning in 1 minute and 34 seconds time, and the best that Top Esports can hope for is just funnel as much gold as possible into Creme, try and get that death cap online, but the rest of Weibo Gaming are coming, so he's just gonna pop the TP. Unless Xiaohu can pop it, nope. He gets that alive.
Good. I mean, an expensive recall, but probably better that he just doesn't die here. Death cap probably going to be completed. No! Okay. I was
Didn't have
thinking
enough.
with maybe 2 turret plates and a minion wave. He needs to finish this. We have a minute before, and there's no waves for him to catch. JiaQi's hitting mid wave. He's going to have to wait until he gets the top lane, but Orianna still has TP. They still have this Baron. Let's not even go for the Dragon right now. Let's try to play for these top sides.
Oh, no,
and
Creme.
maybe even get this flash away from these here.
There it is! 2 flash from Jiejie. Doesn't even wait for the Vault Breaker to finish the animation. Snap cast decision making. That makes the difference. Weibo Gaming eliminate the mid laner off the map for the next 34 seconds.
And Bessa is pushing in on mid, and Weibo just snap the neck off of this Azir. There's nothing for him to play during this fight. Doesn't even have time to use his Seeker's arm guard during all of this. He has 20 seconds before he respawns. He'll be up in time for the Dragon. And now Weibo, they'll use their Baron recalls after they take this top tier 2, spend some of their gold, and now move into the bottom side. I don't think top esports need to fight this objective, but with the goal difference that's there, maybe they might just say, this game isn't getting much better for us. We're just gonna have to fight it and hope that we can try to catch someone off guard.
Fengyue and 369 are the first ones here in the river. They can get some vision down. They might look for Zika first. Public execution to reposition, and he just dashes away to the safety of his team. Well played.
Beautiful. Just very clean here from Zika here in this game number 1 on the Mbessa. And we're just getting a 5-on-5 standoff. 369 is not quite here. And Fengyue might just try to use the blast cone to put him into a really good flank position. Both the supports no longer able to get in.
3K.
Getting low.
Dragon is stalled for now. They're trying to pressure for it. Shockwave only on to Fengyue. Pops the ultimate for the damage reduction. Bullet time is going to burn it down. Jiejie secures it. Clutch with the smite. Top esports, do they want to continue the fight? Crescent guard is popped. Creme looks for the Emperor's Divide, but the buffer by the Jiejie cease and desist. Fengyue sends him for another pulverize in the back line, but all for naught. The rest of top esports backline just cannot do enough damage. NaiYou tries to send it for the Hail Mary, but Alk still reigns supreme on the Rift. And game 1 is looking wrapped.
Wow. Perfect play coming in. I mean, we talked about it from the draft, right? If top esports have to walk in to an Orianna and a set up Mbessa and Misfortune, you're just never breaking them as a frontline. With the composition that we've drafted for ourselves, Weibo looked completely untouchable here in game number 1. They have a 10,000 gold lead. They're on soul points. JiaQi's trying to squeeze whatever little bits of damage he can get at the back end. But it is way too late here for top esports in this game number 1.
At this point, it is no longer in top esports' hands to come back in this game. It would have to be on Weibo Gaming to throw. The throw of all throws.
Please don't say this. Please don't put that energy out here, man.
Anything is possible here in the LPL, but only time will tell. And for those that are hoping for Weibo Gaming to show that character development, it is on them to close this game out with a 10,000 gold advantage in pocket.
Raafaa just really wants to see Weibo lose this game. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting.
I'm here for the chaos. I'm here for the chaos, man.
All right. Well, right now, Weibo are just waiting for the formality that is the Baron Nashor to spawn, the big purple worm. Give them a team fight that top esports are not going to be able to ignore, and hopefully a gold lead that they're not going to really be able to get around. So, again, pushing in top side looks good to me. The battle over mid seems fine. Fengyue is in a decent flank, but it might be too late, honestly. And Creme has to teleport to this play.
He's spotted. 369 pulls one into the death round. Fengyue is trying to choose his moment to go in. Bullet time is about to evaporate them all. Creme just went in way too early. 369 goes golden. There's a knockup from Fengyue, but who's going to supply the damage? JiaQi is firing tiny little nails that don't do jack squat. Zika's going to zone him off completely, and the rest of Weibo Gaming can now run this minion wave in for the game win.
You cannot teleport in the face of Weibo Gaming. Like, he teleports in, Zika's like, oh, perfect. I have the greatest timing ever to get right on top of the Azir, and by the time Azir finishes the teleport, Shockwave, every single bit of combo available to Weibo completely wraps him out of that fight. So, Congratulations, Top Esports. You've now cemented that this game is going to be going over to Weibo. You don't even get the red buff for your troubles. An amazing team fight taken by Weibo Gaming, and please don't do this. Nope. If Jiejie fails that smite, we're going to be a little bit mad. I'm not going to lie.
Oh. At this point, we are waiting for one more fight to send us into game 2. Weibo Gaming have pretty much everything that they need to close this one out. GA was never popped by Jiejie in that last fight. You've got Locket from Erha. Alk technically does not have sums up for another 30-45 seconds, sure, but he is quite fed, he is quite strong, and they're just gonna send a cease and desist on NaiYou, and they oh my goodness, they ferry into JiaQi using NaiYou as a springboard, and there's now no Ezreal. Creme is free hitting on the other side, but can he actually hit any viable targets here? 369 pulls one into the death realm, but is he winning that fight? It doesn't really look like it, and Alk is still alive, by the way, so he picks up a triple kill for his troubles, and Weibo Gaming find the ace here at 30.5 minutes. Game 1 finally done and dusted.
I think that is the most beautiful play that I have seen from Weibo all split long. Just perfect crowd control layering, using the ultimates from both Alk and from Zika to get right on top of this Ezreal. Beautiful stuff. Weibo are going to take this at a 30-minute game with a 14,000 gold lead.
Weibo Gaming off to a hot start here in our best of 5 second round lower bracket. And this is the kind of momentum Weibo Gaming need to have after getting completely stomped by BLG in their upper round if Weibo Gaming want to make a revenge tour through this side of the bracket.
Very, very just good enough game here from Weibo. There were obviously some cracks when we talk about certain ways that we were setting up, but I saw none of the normal hallmarks of a Weibo game. None of the game, I don't think there were very many moments in this where I saw Jiejie overextending and kind of being left to dry by his team. There were a lot of attempts to try to take down Alk, and none of them succeeded in my mind.
Yeah, I think Jiejie definitely deserves player of the game for me. He was the driving force for a lot of the early game windows that caught Top Esports off guard. And then anytime that Top Esports were trying to have a good response, on Jiejie's next redeploy, he doesn't hesitate. He sees the window, and before it even closes, just commits the flash. And I think that's something that was super crucial this game, is that Jiejie was very liberal with using his summoner spells just to create advantages and pressure on the map. And it seemed like Top Esports were a little too reserved about when to make their mark on the map until it was too late.
I do want to kind of talk about the fact that for Top Esports, I think that this draft and this game as a microcosm is not super expensive for them. And when I say expensive, I'm talking about Fearless Draft, right? You got rid of a ton of champions that don't usually see a ton of play, like Mordekaiser is something that 369 has pulled out before, but you got rid of Mbessa, you got rid of Orianna, Vi, and Xin Zhao in this game. I know it's like the only one piece of cope I really had for this, but this was a very weird draft, a draft for Top Esports that didn't really connect some of the dots that we were hoping for. And still, I think that there were moments I think they could have fought a little bit better, or at least had more of a standing chance that we saw. Another note that I will put is Xiaohu had a fairly clean game. I think that our Orianna this game was really, really good, and I had very few complaints, which is rare.
Yeah. The only one Unk moment was him face checking a bush he already had vision control over. And obviously, because we have God vision, we're able to see that the Outstar is clearly walking down. Benefit of the doubt, maybe Xiaohu didn't know that he was fighting a 1v2 or a 1v3 instead of a 1v2 and thought that he could try and maybe chunk NaiYou on the way down to dissuade that dive from happening. But like you said, other than that, very, very, very clean game. And the story of Weibo Gaming, this entire split, has just been filled with moments where Weibo Gaming are on the cusp of winning and closing out a game, and then there's a There's a classic Xiaohu moment. There's a classic Weibo Gaming moment. And the fact that it didn't happen is promising for the future of these games in this best of 5.
I don't know, man. Like, I took very little stock of their 3-0 versus Invictus Gaming, right? Like, that team is very flawed, at least from my point of view, and you know, we're getting a little bit hyped. They're like, wow, that was such a clean 3-0 versus Invictus Gaming. Maybe they could do something versus BLG. Clapped immediately. So far in this game, very early on in the series, so don't know if we'll have necessarily the same regards, but I mean, good draft, good gameplay, very little to be upset about, especially if you're a Weibo fan.
Yeah. If Grapes is watching right now, he's a happy camper. But obviously, Grapes is also not going to be content until the series is completely over. All 3 Nexuses have been taken successfully by Weibo Gaming. But moving forward, we can talk and speculate a little bit about what to maybe look out for in the draft. Because like you said, nothing surprising, nothing too creative popping out here early on in Fearless. I guess the one thing you could say is the Mordekaiser was pulled out early, but that still leaves plenty of power picks on the table to grab.
I am just so glad that we're not going to have to watch Orianna Azir in this series. We're way past that. I loved this play. I hope that they show the last play when we're going on to JiaQi. I think that was beautiful what we got from them on Weibo Gaming. Yeah, a lot of the OPs are gone. I wonder if Varus Top is going to make his appearance here in this series. Just Zika has been one of our few Varus Top players, and I just wonder if 369 has an answer into it, whether or not he's going to pull out one of the more traditional OPs, or if we're going to get things like Rumble, things like even Cassante, if you really want to try to get a little bit less fun, I guess is the way that I would describe it.
I mean, if 369 has been scrimming against Flandre, yeah, dude, this was awesome. I loved the creativity of Jiejie ulting NaiYou just so he can get closer to JiaQi and then just flash Q him. That
Q landing is very disgusting from Erha. He flashes over Wolves Wall, very edge of the hook, lands, and boom, that's essentially your go button.
Hitbox moment, yeah.
Yeah. I do want to point out that in solo queue, Xiaohu has actually been practicing some AD mids. He has a Vayne mid game that he's been playing, or 2 Vayne mid games that we saw from him, and he was playing Lucian mid, so maybe something that comes on through. I don't think Galio is really going to be very real for Creme, but Yone is extremely popular for him, and I might be a little bit more nostalgic, but Xiaohu Lucian has been an amazing pick historically, even if I think his most recent game on it last year was not amazing.
It was definitely a moment where, like, all right, I know you used to be nice with this champion, but you might need a couple more reps and practice tool before you bust it out again. But man, if we think back to peak Xiaohu Lucian on the RNG days when they were taking MSI titles, ooh, yeah, that's the good stuff right there. And I would hope that Xiaohu has it in his bag for the series. Maybe it would be a nice treat. And as we called it, Jiejie, player of the game, definitely the driving force and the one leading the knockout punches here for Weibo Gaming. So this brings us to an end of our first game coverage. Before we take our break, though, we want to remind everyone at home that